Hello there. Welcome to my home, to my living room, to my studio. It is actually the same thing because I do most of my living in this room, in my studio. The real living, creating. My name is Boaz, and I have spent the last 4 decades building what I call a creative life. A life that is full of creativity, that revolves around the energy of creation, that feeds from this energy and in turn feeds it. A life that is deliberate, that is dedicated, that is intentional. But before we start talking about what is a creative life, maybe we should stop and talk about what is life. When I say I want a sports car, it probably means that I know what a car is, that I know how a car works, that I know how to use a car, that I know what are the parts that make a car, and maybe even how to fix a car if it doesn't work. Can you say the same thing about your life? I know I can't about mine. But I did spend many years going down this rabbit hole of what is the meaning of life? Why are we here? What is it all about? All these original questions that I'm sure I'm the first one who ever asked, right? I have read everything that I could put my hands on. I have listened to seminars, to podcasts. I even infiltrated a couple of university courses to see if there is something there. Yes, when I was young, I was so naive that I actually thought that academia has some knowledge in it. I've studied philosophy, psychology, sociology, comparative theology, anything that has to do with the human mind, the human spirit, how the brain works, how society works, how culture works. I have traveled the world and I've talked to people from all levels of society, from all levels of education, from different belief systems, from different cultures, different backgrounds. And I've asked them all this question of what is the meaning of life. I got 1,000 answers, all of them wrong. Well, they might be right for these people, but for me, they were wrong. There was only one thing that resonated with me in all of this research, and that is that life, the meaning of life is living. The meaning of life is the experience of life. The joy, the sorrow, the beauty, the ugliness, the easy, the hard, the fun, the boring, the play, the work. All of this mosaic, all of this puzzle that makes life. This is the meaning of life. How do you live life? How do you act? How do you react? What do you build? What do you destroy? What are your choices? The meaning of life is living the best life that you can, or the best life that you choose. It is creating something new, creating a life, not just using a life that somebody handed you. Creating a life, sometimes from scratch. Sometimes you have to invent yourself over and over again. This is very typical for a creative life, the reincarnation of your creativity. Now, you might say, Boaz, 4 decades, that is impossible. I mean, look at you, you're so young. You don't look a day over 30. Okay, maybe 32. To which I would say, shucks, yes, I know. My boyish physique can be a little bit deceiving. Actually, I might be celebrating my 50th birthday later this year. Not making any promises. Still, 49, 4 decades, it doesn't add up. Well, actually it does, because I started really early. I won my first painting competition when I was 9 years old. It was a municipal school thing, and the prize was a big exhibition at the city promenade, and then a boat ride in the marina. Now, the boat ride was basically going round and round for 20 minutes inside the city's marina. But I was 9 years old, I was very impressionable, and it was fun. After the boat ride, we got pizza and ice cream. Now, I am not a genius. I am not very smart. But I can add one and one. And I thought to myself, wait, this thing that I do, where I put paint on paper or canvas. People give me pizza and ice cream? I can work with that. A couple of years later in high school, I found out that if you volunteer to do all the background and props for the school shows and the festivals and the drama department, you can actually get out of classes. You have a deadline, you have to finish the work in time for the big show. And I was thinking to myself, so this thing that I do, where I put paint on paper, on canvas, people give me pizza and ice cream, and I get to skip class? I can work with that. These were the seeds of what later became my creative life. It took me 2 decades of working in the corporate creative area, in the commercial design, in the commercial arts, before I actually managed to make a real creative life. But the understanding that this is something that is not only fit for me, but something that I can thrive in, something that I can be successful in, something that will bring me pizza and ice cream and skipping class. That was the beginning of the journey that is my creative life. Now, if there is one thing that I found to be true is this. Everything in this universe, and I do mean everything in this universe, is either a duck or not a duck. Think about it. In my career, I tried to touch all of the possible creative jobs, mainly because I was really interested. These were exciting fields with movement and colors and music and sound effects. This was the beginning of multimedia. And I loved learning all the different aspects. I started from the very basic technical draftsman. I moved through graphic design, interactive design, web design, online gaming, augmented reality, commercials, advertisement, marketing, branding, copywriting, copy editing, articles for newspapers and magazines, writing music for documentaries, for online videos, even for stage dance shows. It was all part of the whole, part of the creative life. These were all steps on the way of my creative autonomy, of managing to do almost everything by myself, because a creative life is usually fed by a creative internal world. And it is very hard to translate this word to other people, collaborators, workers, bosses, clients. To get more control over your life, over your creative life, you should be able to do the most possible things by yourself, or at least know how they are done so you can direct others to help you. These are not tutorials. These are not how-to videos. This is not a master class. Trust me, I am not a master of anything. I am not a motivational speaker. If anything, I am a demotivational speaker. I have a good friend who told me that he comes to visit me, we sit in the garden, have a nice chat, and then he goes back home and he is depressed, confused, and for some strange reason, slightly ashamed. Now, when I heard that, I said, oh well, my job here is done. Always try to leave people more confused than how you found them. It is not only beneficial for their growth and development, but it is just so much fun. Now let me give you a small peek behind the curtain. When I started this project, I had to learn how to make videos. Never done it before. I talked to audiences, to big crowds, but it's not the same thing, is it? And I looked at all the tutorials and I read all the articles, and all of them said the same thing. This is what you have to do. You have to start with a big, energetic welcome. Hello, how are you? You already lost me. I mean, it's not that I don't have energy, I have a lot of energy, but it's kind of reserved energy, and I reserve it for my work. Then you have to tell people what the video is about, because Nobody in this modern world is going to sacrifice 4.5 minutes of their life without knowing in advance what the video will be about. Then you have to tell the audience what you are going to tell them. Then you are going to tell them what you are telling them. Then you are going to tell them what you just told them. Then you will have a conclusion telling them what you told them that you are going to tell them, what you told them that you told them, and what you told them that you already told them. And in the end, of course, a big call for action of crush that like button, press the subscribe, etc., etc. You know the drill. I am sure this is the right way to make effective videos. These people have the experience, they have the knowledge, they have the success to show for it. This is great advice what they tell you. I am not going to listen to this advice. The reason that I'm not going to listen to this advice is because, well, I don't want to. It is my life. I make the decisions, and I know what I want and what I don't want. I don't want an effective video. This is not what I am here for. What I want is completely different. You are a guest in my living room, in my studio. I want to treat you like a guest in my living room, in my studio. And we are going to have a conversation. A real conversation. Can we have that? Deep, thoughtful, meaningful conversation. Do you remember those? We used to have them quite a lot. We really did. Unfortunately, in the last years, it seemed that real conversations are almost extinct. Definitely endangered. You can say that it is because of some social distancing or something like that. But the truth is that we stopped having real conversations a long time ago. I love conversations. I want to have, with your permission, a conversation with you. A real conversation. About everything creative. About my life. A creative life. Now, if you are anything like me, and chances are that you are a little bit like me, because you are watching this video, because you are here. If you are anything like me, the last couple of years were not that easy for you. Hell, if you're anything like me, the last couple of decades were not that easy for you. Because easy is not part of the creative life. It is not part of the package. Easy is rarely an opportunity for growth. Easy is rarely a stepping stone to bring you higher, to bring you forward. Easy is something that everyone can do. If everyone can do easy, I will try to choose something else, something different, something unique, something that is mine. My mother always laughed at me that I always find the hardest way to do something. But it's just more fun like that. If you are anything like me, you also remember that it doesn't matter how hard things are. It doesn't matter what the world is throwing at you. The flame that you have inside you, that creative flame, that creative energy, is enough to keep you going. This is actually all you need. You don't need to go out. You don't need a lot of special tools. You don't need people. You don't need productions. In order to create, all you need is the intention to create. A lot of times it manifests more as a need to create. But it always comes from inside you. So it doesn't matter what curveball reality throws at you. Everything that you need is, and it is not a cliche, everything that you need is inside you. The only real advice that I can give you here is just keep on keeping on, no matter what. I know, I really do. No matter what. Just keep on keeping on. Hope to see you here next time. Until then,